What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norn Radd89 here, bringing you another video. For today's video, we're going to be talking about MaXXXine. Yes, Ti West finally put out the capping end of his trilogy, the X trilogy that began with X, and then we had Pearl, and now we have MaXXXine. So today you're going to hear my thoughts on this film, the positives, the negatives, the rating, and then I'm going to send you all home, and also I'm going to tell you, like, how did I feel, how did it stand up to the others, kind of maybe like a little mini ranking you get at the end of the video, telling you which one I prefer the best. So stay tuned to this video. Let's do this. Roll it. So MaXXXine is the final film in the X trilogy. This is, like I said, the third film. We follow Maxine Minx, which is the character that we got introduced to in X, played by Mia Goth. And this one takes place in the 80s in LA. She's trying to make it big as a movie star coming from the porn industry. She wants to transition into real acting. So yes, this is a really awesome film to talk about. Like, I was excited for this one, and it was probably one of my most hyped films that I was most excited for the year going into this movie. I went to the theaters, and this is one just right off the bat. I highly recommend checking this one out in theaters because it is a really, really fun ride. Do you have to watch both of the films? I would say you really, really have to watch X. I feel like you need to watch that one to get the full effect of MaXXXine, but you don't necessarily have to see Pearl. But I would say go watch both of them too before you see this one, because Ti West is fantastic. So let's talk about the positives of this movie right away. Is that key positive is that this one, I still love the fact that Ti West was able to make this completely different from the previous films. That's what I love about this trilogy the most, is that X, Pearl, and MaXXXine, all three films are vastly different from each other. They are so unique. This one is much more a like kind of seedy LA vibes, you know, detective noir type story, but with a little bit of giallo vibes as well. So like I said, this one completely different from the previous films. Also, we have a really cool cast, like Mia Goth, of course, reprising her role. She is fantastic and really knocks it out of the park. We have Halsey in here, Kevin Bacon, Michelle Monaghan. So for real, all cool side cast members that you're going to recognize all the faces and be like, I know them, I know him, I know her, you know what I mean? And I think they all get a little bit of time to shine. Kevin Bacon probably gets the most time to shine as a side character, and he totally earns it because his character is really fantastic. Another key positive I love about this film is the aesthetic, the soundtrack, the 80s feel. Like, I know some people might be tired of the 80s nostalgia. It's, you know, kind of wearing its welcome out. But this film, just the way that Ti West is able to immerse you and submerge you into these certain decades. Like, for real, the fact that we have Pearl, which took place in, like, I believe 1919. Then we had, you know, X, which took place in 1978 or 79. And now we have this one taking place in 85. So all of them feel very distinct and very, you know, like that time and of that decade. So this one screams 80s, has a fantastic soundtrack, and even that goes along with the editing. There's some really cool editing choices by Ti West in this film that I think really do cement this one as having a lot of style. I also got other vibes of, like, Goodfellas. So that's another film that I would say I recommend, like, you know, seeing, just because the vibes of it, that's what this one feels like. You know, it has that kind of almost, you know, mafia type feel, but mystery type feel to it. But there's certain shots that I just, like, really did feel like Goodfellas. So that's why I was like, damn, I really think Ti West took homage from that film specifically. There's, like, this one take shot with Mia Goth just walking through, like, a back room, and then, like, going into, like, kind of like a speakeasy through the back ends of a bar into another building through another room, like, and it's just very reminiscent of Ray Liotta, and when he's taking his wife to the diner and they're going through the kitchen, going through the secret back door all the way up to the front of the diner, into the front of the stage, getting a table brought to them. It has that feel to it. So like I said, I think very giallo vibes, and like I said, Goodfellas kind of like homage that I like, so I'm all there for it. Another key positive is we have some interesting kills and some very brutal ones. Like, not a lot, is not as gory and as sexual as I thought it was going to be. So go into it and tame your expectations, because it's not as out there as X as I thought it was going to be, you know what I mean? Because that one, I would say X is the one that kind of pushes the boundary in terms of gore and nudity the most. This one, you tame your expectations when you go to it. This isn't like X, but there are some very surprising gore moments and some really interesting kills. Another thing I gotta say is just thanking Ty West right off the bat, because the fact that he gave us this amazing horror trilogy, and it's probably going to go down as one of the best horror trilogies of all time. I heard some rumors and some rumblings in the horror news and horror communities that he might be doing a fourth film. I really hope he doesn't. Like, I'm really one of those people that I hope he just keeps it as these 3 films and that's it. And this is really all I need from the X universe, because this is fantastic. It'd be cool if there was other movies like in the universe, but not involving these characters, kind of, you know what I mean? But took place in the same universe. I'd be down for that. But in terms of the Maxine Minx storyline and her, what happens with her and where we end up in the 3rd act, I'm totally satisfied with it. So I really do adore this trilogy. And like I said, I highly recommend checking this film out in theaters. But like I said, I recommend you totally see X first, but you don't have to see Pearl. But let's get into the mixed in negatives, because there are a couple negatives, some softcore negatives, nothing really huge and major. We'll start out with the one major one. The one I think is the worst, like, negative, I think, is a rushed 3rd act. I did feel like the 3rd act, I wanted more from it. I wanted more time to soak it up, and I feel like the 3rd act wasn't completely earned. When you see what happens and stuff like that, I feel like it kind of comes out of nowhere, and I understand the vibe and the campy nature of the 3rd act, but I feel like it kind of gets shoehorned in, like, just really in at the very end, and it just kind of goes bonkers, and it's a little rushed, which I know Ty West is kind of famously known for doing that with a lot of his films, doing these slow builds, and then the last like 10-12 minutes everything goes haywire. And this is kind of one of those movies, but yeah, I think it was a little bit rushed. I wanted a little bit more time to enjoy the 3rd act. Also, there's another element of this film that has to involve with the Night Stalker that is brought up in the trailers and all that stuff, so I'm not spoiling anything. That's very much a part of kind of the time and the aesthetic of this film, but I think it's just kind of background stuff right there, like, and I don't think it gets as much justice as it deserved. I think this film actually could have been a little bit longer. Like, this is a film that I probably would have pushed for 10 or 12 more minutes of actual time, running time, and maybe there'll be an uncut version that has more stuff, but I think the Night Stalker thing is just, literally, it's just there for an aesthetic thing, and I wish it was a lot more prominent in another aspect of the film. But these are just my thoughts and my opinions on MaXXXine. Let's just, like I said, get right out of the way. Let's get that rating, because you know you want to get the Radd rating for this, and MaXXXine is going to get a strong 9 out of 10. Like, that's a very strong rating. And in terms of this trilogy, like I said, I'm very confident in telling you right now that I think this is easily one of the greatest horror trilogies of all time. In terms of a ranking and how I rank the films, I'm going to go X first. That's my favorite one, basically because of personal taste and flavor. That's just right up my alley. Ty West did a very good dirty film. That is a comment and a quote in the movie, that it's possible to make a good dirty film, and that is literally what that movie is. My second one would probably be MaXXXine as it goes right now. That might be recency biased a little bit, but as it goes right now, the second one would be MaXXXine, because of the 80s aesthetic, because of Maxine Minx and her powerful performance by Mia Goth, and so many fun side characters. I have a lot of fun with that one. And then third would be Pearl, but that's not to say Pearl is like a bad movie. Pearl is a fantastic film, but it's more of a slow build, a character study, and I would say that's Mia Goth's best performance out of all 3 films, but I would put Pearl third, second MaXXXine, and then X as my favorite one. These are just my thoughts and my opinions. Please let me know down below in the comment section if you've seen MaXXXine. I would love to hear from you. Are you planning on seeing MaXXXine? Or maybe you're not feeling this one. Were you not big on the X trilogy or X and Pearl, and you're just like, yeah, I'll wait to see MaXXXine on streaming? I would love to hear from you down below in the comment section, but please like the video. That definitely helps out the channel. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and have that notification bell poked so you're notified anytime I post a video. But most importantly, I want y'all to have a safe and happy day. Peace out.